So the website representation vectors, I have also processed the website representation vectors inside also, to be honest, my course too, and also inside my case studies at least 3 times. This is actually about how they cluster the documents. I believe you remember my example or their algorithm presentation for the invoices or other types of templatic documents. And this is same. They try to understand your authoritativeness or your overall quality by just checking the specific web page designs. If the web pages or n count of web pages, if they are similar to each other, they will be clustered in this cluster, and the A will be the representative web page. And this is how it is laid out. So now, then they will create a feature vector. Then they will be actually classifying the vector and or the let's say feature vector, and then they will be actually scoring it. The important part here is that these specific website representation vectors, it is an easier way or cheaper way to calculate the authoritativeness. Because imagine that if you just look at the rendering snapshots, if you just render every web page, take the image, then check the image similarity. Images are expensive, okay? We can't take the images to our hard disk or whatever it is, and we can't compare them to each other. It will be really, really costly. But if I take the snapshot and vectorize it, then delete the image, vectors, as you already know, they are embeddings like 0 and 1. It is binary code line, a line of code that represents entire features on the web page. Now we can actually classify or cluster or score even billions of web pages. So that's why they are trying to use this methodology, but it's not that much clear what kinds of components, how they will be vectorized. So that's why we have to be a little bit skeptic. They don't give this part inside the patent, but they tell that according to the feature vectors, a website might be a signal for a doctor, or it might be a signal for, let's say, a kind of bad website or a scam or fraudulent website, or it might be a signal for an expert or really authoritative source. So that's why website representation vectors are important. That's why I also told that try to be similar to this specific website A at the beginning, so that you can actually be classified under the right class. Then you can try to be representative one. You are already representative. That's why I'm telling you that if you are able to make yourself more different, more unique, it will be more useful for you, because some of these candidates will be eliminated directly because they are not similar to you. They can rank if only they are similar to you, and if they are also doing these, or if they are able to represent the feature vectors better than you. Even if these vectors are generated by just checking you, if they have that in a better way than you, then they will be the representative one. Then you will need to be similar to them. It is a kind of race for being the leader of the cluster. Okay? Yeah. So this here.
Question on this. So you said that basically we're using kind of vectors right now, mostly because the image processing is expensive.
Yeah,
so we can't really analyze the images like that. Do you think the whole process would change with better image processing? Because, for example, the latest iPhones can straight up copy paste from a picture. They can copy paste text from a picture.
But
so if it's more widespread, for example, would that change things?
From Google's point of view, Google actually uses a different CPU. Actually, even it's not a CPU too. It's a different thing. It's called Tensor Processing Unit. It is TPU. They don't use computers as we use. They have a different type of computer that they actually have created from the zero. And every TPU, they actually have different types of tensor processing units inside the pods. As much as I know, every pod has 8 different TPU, and they unite all these TPUs for making them work as a single computer. Imagine that you actually unite 8 computers and they work as one. So they created these really, really strong computers, but the problem here is that tensor processing units, they work only with the tensors, which is a type of embedding, or which is a type of vector. So since they created these billions of dollars of investments for creating these computers and the data centers according to the TPUs, they have to use the TPU. They can't go back and let's try to images and other things. They need to use these computers because it's a really deadly investment for them.
Right. So even if better alternative comes for the everyday user, They're not going to switch simply because of the cost of implementation and
it
switching.
requires too much computer buildings, data center changes. It's not just about the algorithm, it's about actually hardware first, then the software comes from their point of view.
Yeah, so that makes this even more important because it's here to stay for a while at least.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Thank you.
Always. So about the page layout algorithm improvements, Google already actually mentioned a couple of times. They actually published and updated repeatedly the page layout algorithm. The first announcement was actually about the excessive amount of usage of the advertisement. And they actually launched some other tools like browser size tools, or they also, as they say, they also mentioned it many times. They also actually published browse layout. As much as I can remember, it was a tool under the AdSense, and they were trying to understand the quality of the layout. I can find some screenshots from the past of the SEOs. I am reading the 25 years of the search engine, so I believe I will be able to find it. But inside, according to that tool or that tool screenshots, they were actually marking the green if the section is good. They were marking it as the red if the section is out of the context or if there are excessive amount of ads. The important part here is that even if it is not an advertisement, sometimes they assume that it is an advertisement too. So I am telling this because if your visual snapshot or structure of the web pages or the visual gaps between the components, if they are not structured in a good way, the algorithm actually will be giving different scores or different judgments again. So with that said, in this page layout algorithm too, it was about actually taking the context and differentiating ads from the main content. And then actually they have even started to expand these tools. They started to use structured data markup helper. Why this is important? Because first of all, the structured data markup helper, it is created by the Justin Noyan and it is used for automating the process. Imagine that 600 millions of websites, they are manually marking a web page component with the HTML selectors and they are telling that this is author. Then they are choosing an image and they are telling that this is the primary image. Imagine that 600 millions of websites are using it over the 4 years. It means that they have enough level of data now and then they even don't need you to actually mark these things anymore. Even in the CAPTCHA, to prove that you are not a robot, you are actually recognizing images. Do you remember? You choose the boat, you choose the sun, you choose the traffic lights. Whenever you choose an image, they're actually using your input for training purposes again, because they are collecting data from you and then actually they are amplifying and refining the same algorithm again. And they have done the same thing inside these open the structured data markup helper too, and they have used the web page layout algorithms or the web page layout understanding further with the help of these markups. So here too, HTML and semantic tagging, this still exists inside the Google developer website. They say that actually you can use the citations for standalone work such as a book or the movie, or you can actually use these M, and they tell that the M and the I, they are different, use them differently. We have strong B, and according to them actually, let's say the strong element indicates strong importance, not bold as such. For example, they mean actually different things as well. The bold is a little bit, let's say, design. The strong means the prominence. And usually when we actually select the bold from our CMS, it means a different thing too. So these things semantically, they mean different things again. And the line breaks for the BR, again, it actually they mean different things too. Don't use it, adjust the spacing between the lines. Do you remember what I said before too? Don't put random spaces between the paragraphs. It means something. Visually and from code point of view too. Imagine that there is a visual gap here, but there is no BR. So which one I will believe then? Because you have broken the alignment between the code and between the visual design. So that's why actually aligning these two are really important. This is also their style. This is their style guide of the Google. It is still alive and valid. And here too they tell that actually use the semantics or use purposely specific type of semantic HTML tags as much as possible. This is an example from them, for instance. And here too, they tell that separation of the concerns. For example, they tell that do not use title. Let's say do not use title, then the style sheets, then the H1, then the others. Try to use styles together at somewhere else, scripts at somewhere else, and the text at somewhere else. One of the semantic HTML rules is that actually if you have started to use the semantic HTML, it means that now you are giving your content. Styling has ended. Okay, you shouldn't give your inline styles or styles once you started to give the text. Once the text starts, finish the styling. It should be already finished. Do not unite styling and giving the text and scripting all together. It shouldn't be mixed. They should be chunked in a different way, especially in the news SEO. If you started to give your news article, do not ever break it. Just give your news article as a whole, then continue whatever you will be doing. But if you have started to give your main content, do not divide it with the code or with other things. So now, finally, we are coming to the semantic HTML implementation on your website. I'm a little bit tired. I might talk a little bit slower because I believe my caffeine is already finished, but I will be okay, don't worry. So in this case, I will be giving you a semantic HTML implementation. It is a really simple HTML document. It includes actually all of this is created for your blog post. It has the header, it has the footer segments, it also has the main section. After the body, do you remember these rows? Row 1, row 2, row 3. After the body, just use 3 tags, nothing else. Header, footer, main. Inside the main, put your main content. If it is a blog post, put your article. Your H1, it should be under the header, and this header is the header of the article. It is a different header than this. Semantically, you can have multiple headers, but for every section, you can have only one header. I will be giving you the rules like this. And then once you put the article, put your header, put your H1, then put your aside. And this aside doesn't have to come directly under the H1. It actually come to the under this area too, but according to the front end conditions, you can actually relocate it. Inside this aside, we are giving the aside information or meta information for the article. And inside this aside section, we are actually giving these, let's say, breadcrumb, the time of the article or publication date. As you see, it is under the time tag. Then we give this P element, which is the author name. Then we give the category of the post with another P element. And then we give the figure. Put every image under the figure. Figure means that actually under the figure, you can actually use some other important, semantically important and also technically important text too, like source serverage set or picture source set, etc. But if you have a figure, usually, as you know, we put an image, then under an image, we write a text to define the text. You can use fig caption if you want search engines or the crawlers or the HTML parsers to relate the text to that specific image. You should put them under the figure, and the fig caption should be giving the specific purpose of that specific image. So if I come to this part, after you finish your header, open a section, and every section should have an H2, nothing else. Whenever you see an H2, you can assume that it is a new section under the same article. And in this case, we use an H2, we give a P. If you want to use an advertisement or any kinds of banner, put it inside the aside. Section H2P, section H2P. When it comes to the overall aside, it is for author box, or it is also for, let's say, the sidebar. There are some certain rules here that you can check. Put dates inside time, ads inside aside. For every section, we will need to have an H2, footer for footer, and also some other things like fig captions, figures, header, article, main, ordered and unordered list. I can also tell that inside your website for the header area right now, you're actually using these you are using lists for your navigation links. Actually, they are not lists. They are actually a different. They are just links inside the nav. Let's say you don't have to put them inside a list. Let's say. And in this case too, when it comes to the footer part, it is same too. Inside your footer, actually, whenever you have a big text, it should be an H2. Whenever you have an H2, you should be having a section. Whenever you have a section, you can use another navigation. Inside that navigation, you can put a nav links, and you can use other footer sections with other types of navigational footer links as well. I will be giving you this specific HTML document. You can use it actually for simplifying your blog structure, because when I check your actual blog HTML structure, semantically, let's say, or from DOM level of or document object model point of view, it is actually complicated. But with by only using actually 300 DOM elements, you can actually create your semantically optimized DOM tree there, and it will be really very much better for parsing these things. So in the future sections, I will be coming to the centerpiece annotation from Martin Shiplead and HTML normalization. Now I will be continuing from the structured data a little bit. Do you have any question for this part?
No.
I guess we don't. Okay. So right now in your structured data, you are using the breadcrumbs and the FAQ. The issue here is that your breadcrumbs and FAQ structured data, they are also not located together too. They are different under the different structured data blocks. So usually whenever we have a web page, we should be actually uniting them under a hierarchy. So I will be giving you a different type of structured data. And if you are able to use it actually with the schema builder or with custom development, because as much as I know, your blog section, I guess it was under the WordPress. My memory might be mistaken. Is it true?
Yes.
Okay. So in this case, actually, it is easy to use this type of a structured data, because instead of just using FAQ for only a section of your main content, we can actually use a hierarchically optimized specific content piece. And inside this structured data, we can give author name, post type, article publication, publisher, keywords, text, topic, and also update date, structured FAQ structured data, breadcrumbs, and even a review snippet. And this one here, it gives an error because I have written the example to the every JSON LD property. Since I tell example, it tells that the website that you have given, it is not located under the website URL that I am giving. So basically it is an error because of the template. And this is the structured data sample that I have created for you by using actually a graph and a proper hierarchy. Inside this area, actually, every article author, article publisher, FAQ section of the article, and also review snippet of the article, and the website and the web page, the web page image, they are all connected to each other. So we have a structured data inside the HTML page. Okay, this is for your HTML. Semantically, we structure it. Then we optimize the structured data, which is another layer. Then we also optimize your web page layout, which is another layer. If you are able to optimize all these three layers, and if you are able to simplify them for a proper communication with the search engine, all the relevance point of view, from context resolution point of view, and also from responsiveness point of view, you will be having actually an advantage that your competitors can't have. And from this point of view, the Martin Shiplead here, he tells that that's just us analyzing the content, and I don't know what we have publicly said about this, but I think I brought it up in one of the podcast episodes. So I can probably say that we have a thing called the centerpiece annotation, for instance, and there is a few other annotations that we have where we look at the semantic content. So they have a centerpiece annotation, but there are some other types of annotations too. And these annotations are actually coming from your HTML or content structure or visual representation. As you remember the beginning part of the presentation from Google, designs, from also Wipp's algorithm, and etc. I told you that the center section of the document is more important, the top section is also more important, and that's why we see the LCP there. And the largest contentful paint understanding and centerpiece annotation understanding, again, they are aligning with each other. And here he tells semantic content as well as potentially the layout tree. The layout tree is this. This is the layout tree, basically, the rows. And if I come to this part again, here it says, but fundamentally we can read that from the content structure in HTML already and figure out so this looks like from all the natural language processing that we did on this entire text of the content here that we got, it looks like this is a primarily about topic A, which is the dog food. So in this case, actually, we are trying to communicate with the search engine with every type of context and layer, and the HTML normalization is one of them. According to the HTML normalization, the indexed HTML and the actual HTML that you are using, they are not same. Do you remember the Wipp's algorithm from the first slice? If I just go back quickly to make it clear, do you remember this? Divide the node if there is not text on it. Divide this node if there are too many children in it. If I come back to this part again, here, the Gary Elias already says that they don't take all of the HTML components. If you use a smaller DOM tree, it will be easier for them to parse your content. And that's why here too, they actually suggest you to differentiate these things from each other. It is easier to normalize. And by optimizing these small points, you can actually optimize again your evaluation cost. In previous trainings, I believe I explained the evaluation cost, because as there is an indexing, serving, or crawling, there is also an evaluation process. If you are easier to be understood, the evaluation cost will be lower. So now we are coming to the other sections, and in this part I will be talking about the internal links, internal and external anchor texts. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want me to also stop this recording so that we can have like chunks? The episode 1, episode 2 like things, okay?